My name is Frank Ally. I'm a California attorney primarily focusing on family law issues. Now let's get started. This episode is part 2 of our explanation of automatic temporary restraining orders. If you missed part 1, click on the link above and it'll bring you to part 1 and you can start from the beginning. You know, I wasn't always a lawyer. I used to be an insurance guy. And I never forget, one day I'm in my office and a guy came in my office and told me to take his wife off his insurance policy. I said, why? And he says, he was getting a divorce. Well, I didn't do it for him then, but I didn't know why it was so important. Now that I'm a trained attorney, I realize that there is a specific restraining order which prevents you from changing coverages on your insurance. The courts do not want you to put your other party at risk by canceling or changing insurance coverages. That's why the second automatic restraining order says you are prohibited from cashing, borrowing against, canceling, transferring, disposing of, or changing the beneficiaries of any insurance or other coverage, including life, health, automobile, and disability, held for the benefit of the parties and their minor children. Let me explain to you how this can get you in a lot of trouble. You're going through a divorce. Open enrollment comes up at work and you have a chance to change your health insurance. You decide since you're getting a divorce, you're going to remove your spouse from your health insurance coverage. You do so and you don't notify them. Or maybe you tell them you're going to do it, but they don't agree and you do it anyway. Then suddenly, the person finds out they need a very expensive prescription drug, or they have serious medical operation that's needed. The court could and is likely to saddle you with the cost of that expense because you violated the restraining order, which was designed to protect that party. Do not change your beneficiaries. Do not remove people from insurance coverages. It will come back to bite you. Fiduciary duty in California family law is a very important concept. It's so important that we've done a series of episodes on your fiduciary duty arising out of your marriage and your dissolution. You should look at this fiduciary duty video when you have a chance by clicking on the link above. The third and fourth atros refer in some way to your fiduciary duties to the other party. Let's look at number 3 real quick. Number 3 prevents you from transferring, encumbering, hypothecating, concealing, or any way disposing of any property without the written consent of the other party. Now, I've actually given you that restraining order on the screen here below. I want you to look at this with me. Notice that this prohibition of transferring, etc., applies to real property and personal property. That's not just your house, but it's also your furniture, your iPhones, your CD collection, your clothing, everything. You're prohibited from getting rid of any of that stuff. It also refers to community property. Community property is property that you acquired during the marriage. You'll learn more about community property in the video link above. But not only does it apply to community property, which is property that you acquired during the marriage, it also applies to your separate property. This is property that you owned prior to your marriage, that you received by inheritance, a gift, or other instrument, or acquired after the date of separation. Your separate property is covered by this automatic temporary restraining order. Now, we'll talk in detail about separate property in a different video. You can see that link in this video. Click there for separate property talk. Now, that doesn't mean you're prohibited from doing everything. We're going to talk about some exceptions to these restraining orders later, but you need to be aware that if you own a business, you have to be careful about what you do with the business. You can't close it down. You can't sell things, absent the exceptions we're going to talk about. But understand that this particular restraining order not only applies to your personal and real property, it also applies to your separate and community property. The fourth automatic temporary restraining order basically says you can't set up a trust to transfer your assets away from the other party without the written consent of the other party. Just be careful. You shouldn't be doing a lot of financial planning during the divorce without the written consent of the other party. I'm going to talk a little bit about the exceptions to these automatic restraining orders. That will be in the next video. Click on this link here if you'd like to continue this process. Divorces can be complicated or divorces can be easy. Knowledge of the law and knowledge of the process can make a complicated divorce easier. Drama and a lack of understanding can make an easy divorce more complicated. The more complicated we make a divorce, the more expensive it is and the more it's going to cost you, both in money and emotional well-being. This series of videos is calculated to help you gain the general knowledge that you need so you can understand the law and the process a little better. If you find these videos helpful, subscribe to our station. If you know somebody who's going through the process and you're not sure how to help them, consider having them subscribe to us as well. My name is Frank Ally, and I'm your ally in family law.